The alien invasion has started. So strap in and watch the kick-ass teams who are about to save the day. Hello and welcome to Movies You Missed Podcast.
Oh, hell yeah. Let's do this. Let's take down some fucking arachnids and some kaijus.
How you doing today, John?
Awesome. Pumped up. So ready for this episode. I've been waiting for it for weeks, to be honest, because I love both of these movies.
Me too. I've been watching both these movies for a lot of years, and I'm excited to dive in deeper to them.
As am I, because a lot of our listeners know that I don't like to jump into some of my favorite movies BTS because I like to keep that world as real as possible cinematically. So this was the first time that I actually took a real deep bite into my film in the BTS world. So I learned a lot
realistic.
of really...
You wanted to keep that illusion alive for yourself?
My movie is realistic. We're getting there. My film is set in 2197. We're close.
I know. Mine takes place over several years, including 2025. So
I know. Isn't that crazy?
That's kind of perfect timing.
It is, actually, yeah. So see? We're caught up. Guillermo del Toro knew what was going to happen in 2025.
So welcome, everybody, to this episode. We are still super pumped to be back after our summer break, really getting into these new movies that we've been picking lately. We hope you've been enjoying our return as well. And as you know, we are two industry veterans who have been friends for many, many years, who love to recommend movies to you without spoiling them. And this week, we are going to be discussing alien invasion films with some kick-ass action that are both a bit over the top.
Oh, absolutely. And both of these movies have some beautiful women. Oh. Interesting.
I think yours... I actually only think one woman out of both movies is hot.
Oh, you don't think Denise Richards is attractive?
I've never thought she was attractive. Her nose is weird. She's way too skinny. And I was really into James Bond in the 90s, so when she played a nuclear scientist named Christmas Jones in
I remember you had a big problem with that.
I still have it's 20 years later. I still have a problem with that, John.
That is a cloud hanging over you if the world is not enough.
Okay, but that song by Garbage was amazing.
Oh, so badass. Absolutely. I actually prefer it over the Adele song of Skyfall.
Oh, I do too. Yes, me too. I think it's one of the better James Bond songs, actually.
Hell yeah.
But anyway,
we'll discuss that when we talk James Bond movies.
Yes, precisely. So getting back to our Team America awesome movies this week, and we've both seen them multiple times. So unlike some of our episodes where we're either introducing a new movie to each other or we haven't seen them in a lot of years, these ones we're just going to dive right in, and we're both really excited to share some behind the scenes with you and hope you enjoy these movies as much as we do, or want to invite some friends over for a barbecue and be really entertained by watching one or both of them.
Absolutely. These are barbecue movies.
Yes, Saturday afternoon movies, lots of fun. And as you all know, before we jump into the movies of the week, we love to discuss the new movies we've seen in theaters or on streaming over the last week since our last episode.
Yes. I went and saw a sequel starring Bob Odenkirk, Christopher Lloyd, Connie Nielsen, Riz Ahmed, and Sharon Stone. I went and saw Nobody 2.
I hope it's as good as the first one.
Oh, it's just so much fucking fun. It's such a blast. Absolutely fantastic fun. Check it out if you can. I had just watched the first one on Monday night. So
the first time?
I just watched I watched the first one on either Monday or Sunday this last week. So
oh my God.
I hadn't seen it before. Yeah, I was very excited to watch it because of obviously the sequel coming out, and I'm very glad that I did.
I had no idea you hadn't seen that movie before.
I had not seen it. Yeah, I know. It's kind of crazy, too, because after I finished it, I'm like, what the hell took me so long?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's awesome.
It is. It's so badass. So definitely see Nobody 2 if you can.
Yes, I'm very excited to see it.
I hope you get to. And then I ended up going to a Fathom event re-release of The Nun, the original Nun from a few years back, and that was so much fun to see that back in theaters again. That movie absolutely scares the hell out of me, even when I watch it every October, and getting a theatrical experience again was so great. They're doing a re-release of all the Conjuring universe movies up until Last Rite comes out, so I was able to partake in that, and it was very exciting.
Isn't Vera Farmiga in that movie?
No, her sister is.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, it was really, the casting, it's crazy. Definitely a good movie. If you're a fan of the Conjuring universe, it's one of the better ones.
Okay.
Yep, so that is what I saw over the last week. And V, I know you said you saw one or two.
I did, actually. I saw two. The first one being another documentary.
Okay, then.
I'm on a streak, so I want to keep that going. I saw Wick is Pain, the documentary about the John Wick movies.
Oh, no shit.
It was so much fun watching. It felt very behind the scenes. It was a deep dive into the production, how they got the money, how the filming went, and
Awesome.
it really gave a lot of history into these two directors because they had co-directors on the first movie. I really liked it. It definitely is for more hardcore John Wick fans because it is such a deep dive. Or people who are really interested in seeing how movies are made, because there are so many things about the film industry that just brought up a lot of memories for me. And so that was a really fun piece of it too. These guys are clearly so passionate and so proud of what they've created, and rightly so. And so it was really fun to watch. But again, I think the people who would actually enjoy it are John Wick fans or fans of how movies are made. Definitely check it out. It's only for rent right now. It was produced by Amazon. I thought it would be streaming, but you have to rent it right now, but it's pretty cheap. Highly recommend. It's called Wick is Pain. A lot of Keanu Reeves in the movie too.
Awesome. I am absolutely going to check that out. I love the John Wick movies.
Yeah, me too. And the co-directors are both former stuntmen, and so going into their stunt academy and going into their histories was a lot of fun for me personally. And David Leitch, who was the co-director on the first movie, big fan of him. He's the one who directed Atomic Blonde and a lot of other great movies, including Bullet Train that came out recently.
Oh, sweet. He was actually a producer on Nobody too, so that was kind of fun to see his name in there.
Yes, he's been working a lot since John Wick, and rightly so. He's very talented.
Hell yeah.
And he's busted his ass for decades in the industry, so I'm really glad he's getting the success that he deserves now. So, Wick is Pain, go ahead and check it out. Also, if you're into any sort of stunt work or interested in that field of the filmmaking industry, there's a lot of cool deep dives into stunt work too, so that was really fun.
Killer.
The other movie I watched is a family drama called A Nice Indian Boy. And
I've heard of this one.
Yeah, I randomly heard about it. I think I saw a clip of it on Hulu. Hulu was posting about it. I don't know. I forget exactly where I saw the ad for it. But Jonathan Groff is in it, and I love him. He was King George in Hamilton. He was the young FBI agent in Mindhunter. And Karan Soni is also in it. He is the taxi driver from the Deadpool movies.
Oh, cool.
Dopinder?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
I love him. And this is just a wonderful LGBT rom-com. I loved it so much. It was so sweet. I really thought it was just perfectly imperfect. There's awkward family dynamics, there's tension, there's awkward first dates, and all the cringe fest that comes along with that. Jonathan Groff is a beautiful character in this movie. I love him so much. We get to hear him sing, which is wonderful. And I just had a great time with this movie. It's brave and bold having this story out there. There's this uniqueness to the story that I'm not going to give away, but there's a uniqueness to this story that created this rom-com that I hadn't really seen before. And it was so nice that it wasn't completely formulaic. So I highly recommend this film. It's called A Nice Indian Boy, and it's on Hulu right now.
Awesome.
Yeah, so those are the two movies I saw this week.
Fantastic.
All right, now it's time to dive into the movies that we picked this week. And even though John went first last week, that was a special circumstance because his movie came out first and it started the storyline for Peter Pan, which is why we thought it was important that he go first last week.
Oh, yes.
But since it is an odd episode, he is still due to go first, so why don't you take it away?
All right, let's do it. Let's dive into this freaking movie.
I love this movie so much.
Me too. And if you were hanging out with us last week, you know that my pick this week is from 1997. Has to do with a lot of bugs, a lot of invasions, a lot of propaganda, a lot of fascism, lots of blood and gore and fantastic violence. The only good bug is a dead bug. Would you like to know more? This is Starship motherfucking Troopers, baby. Let's jump into Starship Troopers from 1997. This film is based off of a book from Robert Heinlein. I've only ever read one of his books. I read it last summer. It was called Stranger in a Strange Land. It's a fantastic novel. So maybe one of these days I'll read Starship Troopers, but I've only ever heard that this is a complete 180 from the book, and it just completely goes all over the place because this film is not only directed by one of the 1990s fantastic, out-of-control directors. He also did Total Recall, RoboCop, Basic Instinct, and not only this movie, but the masterpiece starring Elizabeth Berkley, Showgirls.
What a resume.
Oh, what a resume indeed. That is, if you don't know him by name, because I haven't said it yet, it is Paul Verhoeven. He is one hell of a badass director, especially for this pick of Starship Troopers. This film is written by Ed Neurmeyer. He also wrote RoboCop and a bunch of other movies that Paul Verhoeven was at the helm of. Where to begin with Starship Troopers? This film opens up with a propaganda commercial about a whole bunch of soldiers doing their part. I love the beginning. Everybody's doing their part. There's a child doing their part, and it is this movie teeters on B movie and absolute cinema movie. Like, this is if you have seen Starship Troopers, I don't know a single person in the world that does not like Starship Troopers. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Well, you know what? My wife's in the other room. I think she doesn't like this movie very much.
Yeah, I'm sure.
She might be the only person in the world that does not
That
like
you know
Starship
of.
Troopers. That I know of. Yeah, exactly. So if you don't like Starship Troopers, keep it to yourself. I don't want to know more about you. But if you're a fan of Starship Troopers, I would like to know more about you. So anyway, after this propaganda piece, we are introduced to Johnny Rico, Diz, Carmen, Carl, and a whole slew of other characters that are in school and training and learning a whole bunch about these bugs that are coming to Earth to destroy the human race. They are coming from a planet called Klendathu, way out in the Andromeda Strain. These bugs from Klendathu keep sending arachnid meteorites to Earth to destroy the human race. And we find out also that Rico and Carmen and Diz and Carl are all trying to get into the Federation so that they can become a citizen. And this movie is very fascist, and Paul Verhoeven has said that this movie is very much his vision, on top of Ed Neurmeyer's, who also wrote the screenplay, of what the world could potentially look like had Hitler won the war.
Mm-hmm. I think it's so brilliant, and all of this flew over my head when I was a teenager watching this. I just thought it was
absolutely.
a kick-ass
Yeah.
movie.
Exactly, yeah. And as I've gotten older over the last, actually 20 years, because I'm closer to 40 now than I've ever been before, this was one of those movies I think I first saw when I was 12 or 13. It was on TNT. While it was edited, there were only certain scenes that were edited. Everything else was on TV. All the blood, all the guts, all the dismemberments, all the decapitations, all the bloody violence in this movie was still on TV.
Of course.
Paul Verhoeven is quoted saying, "I would much rather see blood and violence than nudity in a movie because that's what the world wants. Beyond the nudity that we all love in this movie, everybody wants to see blood and guts." And I think that that's absolutely true because in any network television channel, extreme blood and violence, but how dare you show sex or nudity in any regard.
Puritan American at its finest. So ridiculous. Yeah. God forbid we see Dina Meyer's breasts, but let's see some guy's head get blown off. That's so much better for a 12-year-old. It's like...
Oh, absolutely. And when I was 12, I really did want to know more. So let's tell you a little bit more about Starship Troopers. Like I mentioned, these cast of characters are on their way of joining the Federation. Rico wants to go into mobile infantry. Diz, played by Dina Meyer, she's teetering on the potentiality of going into that world as well. Carmen, played by Denise Richards, is hopped up on becoming a pilot. And that's another cool thing about Starship Troopers. Now, again, I haven't read the book. I don't know how true to the book this whole thing is, but this is a very gender-neutral, race-neutral world as well. And that was one thing that I remember noticing as a child with the shower scene. There are black women, Asian women, black men, Asian men, all kinds of different races in this shower sequence, and they're all just showering together. And that was Paul Verhoeven's way of showing the fact that men and women are equal in this future in 2197. So we're getting there, ladies. Just hang out for, hang tight for another 200 years.
The only positive aspect of this fascist society whose high schoolers are definitely 30-year-olds.
Oh, 100%. The funny thing is, on set, everybody in this movie had done either Melrose Place or 90210 before this movie went into production. So on set, this was titled Melrose Troopers or 90210 Troopers. Everybody was having a lot of fun with the fact that these beautiful young people, Neil Patrick Harris being one of them, I did not mention that Neil Patrick Harris was in this movie. He plays Carl, and he goes into games and theory, and Carmen's like, that's military intelligence. Like, it's just... Some of the acting is to be desired.
So
it's
awful.
a little to be desired. But that's not really why we're watching this movie. We're not watching this movie for the acting chops. And nothing against Casper Van Dien or Dina Meyer or Michael Ironside or Jake Busey or Patrick Muldoon, any of them. It is very B-movie acting-wise. Everything else is big-budget Hollywood spectacular action.
Let's put it this way. Denise Richards is such a bad actress that when you watch her in Real Housewives, you can tell she's acting.
Oh, well, I have never seen that show, but I believe you.
Oh,
I've seen her in Wild Things and The World Is Not Enough and a couple other things too. I don't mind Denise Richards. You know, I am a straight man. I can't deny that I find her very attractive.
She's not hot. Again, she's not hot.
That's your opinion, though.
And it's valid.
She's got those eyes. Her eyes are... I think it's the eyes and her teeth. She's got great teeth.
Okay.
I'm just fucking around with you, V. I've always found her attractive. I think it was mostly because of the whole Wild Things thing with her and Nev Campbell. It was like, ooh,
of course
wow,
you'd
fantastic.
think that.
Yeah, of course. I'm a straight man. What are you going to do?
Keep
so
talking
anyway,
about
back
Starship
to a little bit more of
Troopers,
the... I was going to say, let's get back to Starship Troopers. We can talk about Denise Richards and Dina Meyer literally for the next 3 hours.
You could.
But so while these group of high schoolers, like you said, who are in their 30s, clearly, they are about to take all these tests to see where exactly in the galaxy they will be sent. And Rico's got a problem because his parents don't want him to join the Federation. They don't want him to go into mobile infantry. They really would like him to go to Harvard, and that, which is very typical for the 90s. Like, you're going to Harvard, and that's the end of it. There's no more discussion. Rico's like, it's my decision, Dad. I'm going to do what I want. And Mom's like, no. We got you a really good vacation package. Why don't we send you to Zegaba Beach? And he's like, I've always wanted to go there. And my favorite thing of the 90s, good, then it's all settled. All settled was like the way to like end a fucking conversation in most TV shows and movies. And they nail it perfectly in Starship Troopers. So everybody ends up going in a separate direction. Rico goes into mobile infantry. Carmen goes into the pilot program. Carl goes into games and theory. We follow all of them, which is great. I really like the way that they tie in everybody's story throughout this 2 hours of this movie where, you know, you're not like, oh, Carmen goes away and we never see her again. Mm-hmm. There's a bit of conflict with Rico and Carmen because Carmen starts to talk with Patrick Muldoon's character, who is actually a pilot, and she's starting to kind of like get in with him because she wants to learn a little bit more about being a pilot and all this other shit. And Patrick Muldoon plays a guy named Xander, so there's a little bit of douche name dropping for you right there. My name's Xander.
With a Z.
With a Z, yeah.
What a tool.
We meet Jake, big time. We meet Jake Busey, he plays Ace, and we're also introduced to Sergeant Zim, played by the badass Clancy Brown.
Best character in the whole movie.
He is a major, awesome badass in this movie. I totally love him in this.
All his one-liners are so good. Oh, my God.
Oh, they're so great. So great. And another thing that's cool about this movie is this came out in 1997. We'll get into all that later, but there's a lot of faces that just keep showing up. You're like, oh my gosh, he's in this. Oh my gosh, he's in this. And I like that about this movie also. So while everybody is off in their new assignments, we're following Rico closer than any of these other characters, and we find out that after he has gone through basic training, we find out that the Arachnids have sent a meteor of bugs from Clendathu to Buenos Aires, where Rico and Diz and Carl and Carmen are all from, and Buenos Aires has basically been taken off the map. So the Federation ends up launching this massive invasion on the planet of Clendathu to wipe the Arachnids off of, I was going to say face of the earth, but off the face of Clendathu.
Exactly.
Yeah. And for the rest of the movie, we are along with all of these characters while this invasion takes place. And for the rest of the movie, we are treated like a bag of candy to some of the most spectacular action from the 90s, other than Jurassic Park and Independence Day and Men in Black.
And Speed and The Rock.
Of course, Armageddon as well. Can't forget Armageddon.
And Total Recall.
And Total Recall.
I can keep listing
Paul Verhoeven.
Awesome action movies from the 90s if you want me to.
There's a lot of them. There's a lot. I would say this is definitely top 5, though, for the 90s. Starship Troopers, absolutely.
No.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, so like I said, for the rest of the movie, this massive invasion's going on. We are treated to some spectacular action, incredible CGI bugs, and nothing but hilariously mediocre acting. And that's okay, because it's the 90s, and this movie did not rely on necessarily a script that was anywhere near strong. But that's okay, because the movie's great. And I abso-fucking-lutely love this movie. I think I've been watching it, like I said earlier, since I was 12 years old. Started watching it on TNT. Then I got the DVD. Then I got the Blu-ray. Now I have the 4K. And last year, for the first time, I was able to show my dad this movie in theaters in the city because they did a one-night-only showing of Starship Troopers, and my dad had read the book but never seen the movie, and my dad fucking loved the movie. And I was a proud son, and we had an absolute blast seeing this in theaters, and so did I, because I'd never seen it in theaters before. Before we get into the BTS, V, apparently you're also a big fan, like myself. What did you think of this rewatch? I imagine you watched a pretty new version of it. I hope it was a 4K transfer, because the DVD does not look so good anymore, but this 4K transfer that I have is absolutely stunning, and everything looks so spectacular. V, what'd you think of this rewatch of Starship Troopers? And I don't even know when the last time you watched this movie was.
It's been a while. I think close to 10 years. Maybe a little less than that, but like 7 or something. Definitely before COVID, so it's been a little bit. And
oh, yeah, for sure.
I love watching this movie now because, like we said, in high school, it was just a fun action movie. We thought it was so badass. And of course, we saw people's boobs and butts, and we were like 15.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Oh my gosh, we get to see an adult movie, and they're cursing, and everybody's dying, and all this stuff. And so all of this commentary completely flew over our heads. And watching it now, it's turned into a bit of a B movie and a little ridiculous, but it's a huge cult classic. So many people on the internet still talk about this movie to this day. And all of the messaging is so nuanced and deft, and he did such a good job with this film. And it's such a juxtaposition between the quality of, like you said, the acting and how over the top some of the dialogue is, and it's just so ridiculous. But at the same time, the commentary on all these little things, they're uniforms that totally look like SS uniforms.
Absolutely.
The citizenship tests that they have to take. You're only allowed to vote if you're a citizen. You're only allowed to have babies if you're a citizen. All these things that you have to do in order to be counted in this society.
And I love that too. That's more exposition that we get later on in the movie. It's not like spoon-fed to us. Like there's a character that's like, I want to have babies, and you can only have babies if you're a citizen. It's like, oh, wow, okay, interesting.
There's so many little pieces of either throwaway dialogue or dialogue that is happening on an info screen in the movie itself. So it's almost unheard dialogue by a viewer that you have to really be paying attention to. A lot of these news stories that are happening in the background for these characters, if you actually listen to them, they're talking about the Joseph Smith settlement that was attacked by bugs.
Oh my God, it's so incredible.
And you're
the Mormons decided to come up with, I love that whole thing. So awesome.
And then as an adult, you watch this movie and you're like, oh, so humans were invading their territory and the bugs got pissed. Like, this was totally our fault. But this entire movie is presented like we are defending ourselves. And that's absolutely not the truth. That's why I love so much that we open up with a newsreel, with a propaganda reel, because you have to remember, or you have to realize in this movie, that you are subjected to an unreliable narrator.
Yep.
We're really, in fact, only watching these propaganda videos. That's really what this movie is composed of. And once you realize that, you can see through all of this pro-Earth bullshit that they're spouting and that they're trying to give to you to help with recruitment and help more soldiers join the fight and all this bullshit. And
I love when the kids are stomping on bugs and the mom's just like hysterically laughing and clapping. It's just so hysterical.
We're doing our part.
Yeah.
I love that line so much.
Would you like to know more? That's my favorite. I love the whole would you like to know more thing.
And so now as an adult, I like this movie more because of the messaging, because of the media literacy that you need in order to really understand what Paul Verhoeven was trying to give you and trying to tell you. And so I think this is actually a great test to see how much media literacy your friends and family have, because you show them this movie and then you're like, hey, well, so what did you think of the humans? And they're like, fuck yeah, we're gonna kill all the bugs. And you're gonna be like, oh.
Totally.
So yeah, huge fan. If you can get past a little bit of the campiness in terms of the acting, fantastic film. Really important these days too. I think it's very relevant and certainly worth watching. I watched it on Netflix, so it was a high quality edition of this movie, even though the sound isn't as great because Netflix doesn't have as high quality sound as say Disney Plus, for example. But otherwise, I cannot believe how good the CGI in this movie holds up. The bugs are amazing, especially when they're back in being tested on. I was like, that looks real. And it still blows my mind how back in the day, I think about The Abyss or I think about Jurassic Park, because they had the time, they gave their VFX artists time to do this. They came up with CGI that holds up. Think of Davy Jones in Pirates of the Caribbean, for example. Oh my
gosh, absolutely.
Versus now, when they're trying to churn out these movies so quickly, they don't have them fully fleshed out. They're not giving the VFX houses enough time to make CGI look good, and so we get shit that's like an Ant-Man Quantumania, right?
Yeah. Totally.
Just absolutely terrible. And
Yep,
so
awful.
and so yes, the CGI still holds up to this day, even though it's from 1997. Really had a good time. Thank you so much for picking Starship Troopers.
Absolutely, yeah. There's one thing I do want to say before I jump more into the BTS, and I think I mentioned this, I might have mentioned it to you just in general in talking, but I don't know if it's in an earlier episode of our podcast here, but when this movie was advertised, I saw commercials for it on TV from early 1996 up until the movie was released. I had already seen Jurassic Park, I had seen The Abyss, I had seen Independence Day, so I was hopped up on alien invasion movies.
Mm-hmm.
One day, my dad and I went to go see Men in Black at the Mall Theater in Palmdale, and there was a poster for Starship Troopers. We got our tickets, got our popcorn, and I walked over to the poster and I said, Dad, this is the movie I've been telling you about, Starship Troopers. He goes, yeah, I read the book back in the day. I was like, oh, really? Awesome. And I looked down and I see that Starship Troopers has been rated R. I had never been so heartbroken in my life because at that point in my life, I was not allowed to see R-rated movies.
Mm-hmm.
It was not something that my mom and dad were going to be like, sure, we'll go see it first and see if it's okay for you. My dad flat out was like, I'm sorry, son. And I could tell my dad felt bad. I was on the verge of tears because I knew that I was not going to see Starship Troopers until I was old enough. And then I got to see it on TNT however many, like a year and a half later, but I still didn't get to see the whole thing. So I just want to put that out there, that there's just so much nostalgia to this movie. And again, the CGI holds up so well. The practicality of everything is also fantastic. The cast ended up going through an 11-day boot camp with a military advisor that was on this movie the entire time. This military advisor went through Vietnam. He was ex-Marine Corps. They shot this in South Dakota and Montana. This military advisor grabbed several different background actors, named them the generals of their background troop, and taught them how to become soldiers. So a lot of what you see on screen in boot camp and during the battles is all military grade.
Oh, awesome. That's
yeah.
Don't you wish we were
badass.
able to control background actors that way all the time?
I know. Tell me about it.
Okay, but they only went through an 11-day, not 11-week?
It was 11 days, yeah.
Pussies.
11-day boot camp.
No, that doesn't count for anything. 11 days won't make much of a change.
It still looked pretty badass to me. I just got to hand it to the guy that he was able to, like you said, control background, and there's a lot of great BTS videos of him on walkie with first AD and second AD and a lot of different background characters. And like, all right, men, get ready, and they all like get their guns ready and all that stuff. It's really cool. There's 24 different behind the scenes featurettes on the 4K
cool
of this movie. Yeah, so I spent an afternoon. It was about 4.5 hours, literally just watching all the BTS of Starship Troopers, which I had never done before because the DVD only had the trailer. So when the 4K came out, it was like, oh, here we go. This is going to be awesome.
Well, and I'm wondering if Neil Patrick Harris had to go through any of that because he actually gets separated from them and doesn't do any physicality in the movie.
Neil Patrick Harris didn't do it.
Oh, okay.
But
okay.
Jake Busey did, Casper Van Dien, Dina Meyer, and everybody that's on screen in mobile infantry all went through that boot camp process.
Very cool. Okay. Yeah, now Neil Patrick Harris's uniform towards the end of the movie is
total SS.
So
totally.
Nazi coded.
Oh, yeah. Heimlich Himmler for sure.
Definitely. Oh, God. Ew.
Heinrich?
Heimlich's from the Bug's Life.
Oh, that's right. Heimlich's from Bug's Life. Well, yeah, fuck the Germans anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, not now.
Who cares about
you guys
getting...
are all fine. It's all good.
Who
I don't
cares
care if I'm
about
going to get
getting
a
there?
Nazi's name correct. Fuck him anyway.
Agreed.
Paul Verhoeven was so into making this movie that he, on his own, came up with 4,000 storyboards for the movie.
Whoa! That probably took longer than the shoot.
I imagine that it did, yes. He was very active in not only that process, but the directing process. Is very impressive to watch on these BTS videos. I'd only ever read about the fact that he was really, really intense about getting reactions from actors. So what he ended up doing was he would stand behind the camera operator and either hold 2x4s that were supposed to be where the bugs were coming from, or he had a practical puppet of an arachnid mouth, and he would run up behind the camera operator and scream and be like, I'm coming to attack you! I'm attacking you! And everybody would just be reacting to that. And of course, when they cut, everybody just kind of stood up and started laughing at him. He's like, all right, let's reset. He just seemed like a really hands-on guy, and I'm actually very interested to watch a lot of the Total Recall BTS now because I have that on 4K too, and I love the OG Total Recall.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Exactly.
So
one of the best moments in all of 90s fucking action movies.
Yes, absolutely.
And then when he pulls the red ball out of his nose, the practical effects in Total Recall are so fucking badass.
See you at the party, Richter. Can't wait to do that movie so much.
I love Total Recall.
Me too. And there's another movie that you've talked about before, though, where the director was behind the scenes banging 2x4s together. I think it was simulating gunshots.
Yes. Oh, gosh.
What movie was that? Okay, audience, we're relying on you. Please remind us what movie that was.
Yeah, that is. I do remember saying that, but gosh, this is episode 175, 176.
Yeah,
so
175.
It's in the back burners of my memory for sure, but I do know that I think it was Black Hawk Down.
No, that would be way too many gunshots, right?
Yeah. Well, speaking of gunshots, at the time when Starship Troopers was being made and when it was released, Starship Troopers had the highest blank count of any movie that had been made at over 300,000 blanks fired on set of Starship Troopers.
That's so
a
fun.
shit ton. Oh my God, I know. And the cool thing about watching this movie too is they're like, come on. They're just shooting in every fucking direction. And half the time it takes them like 7 minutes to kill a fucking arachnid with like 4 different machine guns.
Yes.
And you're just like, yeah, get that motherfucker, get that son of a bitch. Woo! Love it. So awesome.
Oh, God.
There is a really badass sequence towards the last half hour of the movie during the major invasion that was actually done practical on set. There were practical models and visual effects were added, of course, for the spaceship destruction when the the plasma bugs were shooting those plasma rays into space to stop the big planes from coming in. The fire and everything like that was practical and all miniatures, and then they just put it up against a blue screen and added some more digital effects to it. And like I said, the 4K of this is so spectacular that it looks real.
Yeah, no, seriously, all of those spaceships
insane.
look great. The plasma looks good too. Everything about I cannot believe this movie was made all the way back in 97.
Yeah, there was very similarly to Jurassic Park and several other movies at the time, there was new software created for a lot of the visual effects and CGI. And I usually do this at the end, but I just want to mention it since we're talking about it now. This was Oscar nominated for Best Visual Effects.
As it should be. Oh my God,
but it
Starship
lost.
Troopers is an Oscar-nominated film.
Oscar-nominated movie, Starship Troopers, 100%.
Oh my God.
But it did lose to a past pick of mine, the masterpiece.
97, yeah, of course.
Yeah, to Titanic, of course.
Rightly so.
But again, it's interesting thinking back now, of course, as much as I love Titanic, it would be like, man, that would have been so cool to have Starship Troopers win for Best Visual Effects.
A
Had
sci-fi
Titanic
movie?
come out in
Hell
1998, yeah, this movie, I guarantee you would have taken visual effects. If Titanic came out a year earlier or a year after, this would have been an Oscar-winning movie.
It's possible. I don't know how comfortable the Academy would have been giving them this award because it's borders.
That's a solid point.
It's not really a horror movie, but it's definitely a creature
it can
feature.
Be freaky. Oh,
Yeah.
Totally creature feature. Beyond the gore and stuff, there's moments where you're like, holy shit. Like, every time I watch it, you're just like, people are cut in half and the decapitations are happening. And oh, I love that moment. Yeah. In basic training. Oh my God. Rico, you are relieved of command.
God, I
that
love
whole
Clancy
thing.
Brown. We've got to message him.
We really do. And before I get into a little bit more BTS, on the 4K, there is a test that you can take to see where you would be placed in the Federation. I got 255,000 points in my test, and I am a corporal. So, V, you are part of Klimsch's Roughnecks. Hooah! Love that whole roughneck thing. Rico's Roughnecks!
Everyone fights. No one quits.
No one quits. Oh, Michael Ironside's so great in this movie for the 19 minutes that he's in.
Speaking of Richter from Total Recall.
Exactly. Yes, perfect. There he is. Yeah, Paul Verhoeven liked to bring a lot of the people that he enjoyed working with back, and I really appreciate that about him. Similar to Christopher Nolan. Nolan does that all the time.
It's pretty standard for directors.
Absolutely. Now, we talked about Neil Patrick Harris's costume towards the end of the movie when he is wearing that SS thing. MPH was called Doogie Himmler on set when he was wearing that. Can only imagine how much fun that was when he walked like, Doogie Himmler's on set.
Oh my God. That is amazingly awful.
Agreed, completely. I mentioned this movie was set in 2197. This movie did also almost receive an NC-17 rating.
Yeah,
the only reason for that, they ended up getting an R rating because they shaved 4 seconds off of a decapitation scene.
Oh, I was
Not
thinking...
nudity or sex.
I was thinking that they cut the shower scene a little bit.
No, Paul Verhoeven's correct. Show us more violence. Although, to avoid an NC-17, just cut 4 seconds off of that decapitation.
Oh my God. Is that
And that
when
was because of the hopper bug.
I was going to say, is that when, towards the end, when they're trying to hold down the fort at all the fence line and the winged ones come by and just decapitate everybody?
Yep. Yeah. And those were called the hopper bugs. They also had tanker bugs, warrior bugs, and the plasma bugs. And we mentioned the plasma bugs with those huge plasma
and
rockets that shot out of their asses. Well, I hadn't gotten to the brain bug yet, but yes, there was the brain bug. No, it's fine, it's fine. And majority of it was practical. Now, of course, there are scenes where you're like, oh yeah, it's totally CGI.
Right.
But the practical, like just absolutely disgusting. There's so many moments of practical effects in this movie that are truly disgusting. And I love the scene when they're doing the dissection of the little cockroach type arachnid bug. And Carmen's like, she starts throwing up and Diz is like, nerves of steel, huh? Like, I love that. Their whole back and forth always cracked me up because Diz was just so hot for Rico. And Diz, played by Dina Meyer, who I've had the absolute pleasure of working with. And we've discussed here on Dragonheart in the past and now Starship Troopers. And maybe, very likely, if I ever do throw Saw in the mix in our future October episodes.
She's not in the first Saw, though, is she?
Absolutely. She's in 1 through 3.
Oh, I only ever saw Saw once. And only remember the ending, because how could you forget?
How could you forget the ending of Saw? Yes, she makes it through the first 3 Saw films. And
okay.
Yeah, and this is the movie that she said to me, my favorite thing that she's ever said to me. When I said that I was a big fan of Starship Troopers, any actress, exactly. I said, Dina, I love you in Starship Troopers. You know, you see my tits in that movie. I do know that. Thank you very much. I appreciate the reminder. I really do. Dina, if you ever listen to this, absolutely love you. You were so much fun on NCIS Los Angeles. Just absolute blast. It was truly a dream come true to get to work with you.
She has a guest appearance role in the show Castle. And so
oh, no kidding.
The episode takes place in like 2010, 2011 or so. So it'd been a bit since Starship Troopers. She'd gotten a little older. She plays a dominatrix.
Oh.
And she is so monumentally hot in that episode. I don't even care that you don't watch Castle. You should just watch that episode because
you'll have to find that episode and let me know what it is. Amy's a big fan of Castle.
Yeah, Dina Meyer is electric in that episode. You cannot take your eyes on of her. And, well, actually, neither can Castle in the episode, which is great.
I certainly couldn't when I was working with her, that's for sure.
Oh, yes. It's great. She's so beautiful. She's great.
She is. I love her curly red hair, and I follow her on social media, and she's always posting stuff of her cooking, and she's just a badass. And her and Casper Van Dien actually ended up playing, I think, husband and wife in a show on the CW over the last several years. Oh. So there was a Johnny Rico Diz reunion. I've never watched it because I don't watch CW shows. But she always posts like pictures of when they were working together. They're doing a Comic-Con right now somewhere in the Midwest, and I'm just like, God, man. And Michael Ironside usually goes, and so does Jake Busey. But I actually got to meet Jake Busey and Patrick Muldoon on a movie that I worked on several years ago with Ashley Scott, and I didn't know that Patrick Muldoon was in it, but he walked in the room and was like, holy shit, it's Xander. And I said that to Ashley Scott. I was like, oh my God, Ashley, that's Patrick Muldoon. She goes, yeah. I was like, Starship Troopers. She goes, I know, go say hi. I was like, okay, because I was there just like for 2 days, and I was like, hey Patrick, man, I'm just here for a couple days, but I just want to say I'm a big fan of Starship Troopers. And he was like, oh, for sure, oh, that's awesome. I took a couple pictures with him, and Jake Busey was also really fucking cool. So luckily I've been able to meet 3 actors from Starship Troopers. I would love to meet Casper Van Dien and NPH at some point.
Clancy
It'd be
Brown.
really cool to meet Michael Ironside too. Oh, and of course Clancy Brown. That'd be so badass.
She actually also starred in a Keanu Reeves movie called Johnny Mnemonic, which I
that's right
picked for my second episode at Bad Movies We Love.
Perfect. I gotta watch that one then. I just gotta go down the Dina Meyer rabbit hole and watch everything that she's done.
Yeah, I think that'd be really entertaining.
I think so too. Oh, and speaking of Jake Busey, he suffered heat stroke along with 25 extras that on a daily basis were suffering from heat stroke. So there was a lot of delays in shooting because it was so hot in South Dakota and Montana where they were shooting.
I believe it. Was the close to the Badlands. I mean, there are no trees anywhere, and they're all in that gear.
And those costumes were 25 to 30 pounds each on everybody. So you can only imagine how brutal that must have been. Crafty was probably overrun with people trying to guzzle water down.
I bet.
17 gallons of fake blood was used in this film.
I thought it would be more.
Me too. 1,400 extras total in this movie.
That I believe. That sounds
Me
about
too.
like a right number.
Yeah, exactly. Paul Verhoeven and Ed Neumeyer had a lot of freedom because during the production of this movie, while this is produced by Sony Columbia, the management had been changing almost on a weekly basis. So Verhoeven and Neumeyer had nothing but freedom and nobody to tell them, no, you can't do that. So when they delivered the movie and they had a new CEO of Sony and Columbia, the movie was done. And that's what we got.
Nice. Gotta love that freedom.
Hell yes. Now, there was one other actor that was in consideration for Johnny Rico. I'm a fan of him. I don't know. I can't remember if you're a fan of him or not. He was in a movie this year. No, he was in one last year that you watched that I turned off. But he was in one movie this year that was directed by Mel Gibson.
Mark Wahlberg.
Yep, Mark Wahlberg was in the potentiality
Wasn't
of
tall
playing
enough.
Johnny Rico. No, I don't think he was tall enough either. Yeah, he's a bit of a small guy. And James Cameron was attached to direct this movie at one point.
Oh my God. It would have been like Aliens, but on Earth.
Yeah. That was the only reason why he was attached to potentially direct this, because Aliens was such a massive success.
God, it would have been such a different tone, and we wouldn't have gotten Titanic.
We would have gotten Titanic later on, but yes, I completely agree with you.
So it would not have been the same Titanic.
You're probably right. Ooh, pseudo universe, James Cameron, Starship Troopers. I'm curious. This film had a $105 million budget.
Whoa! I did not see that coming.
Oh, totally. Yeah, mostly to CGI, of course.
No, but it just seemed so B-movie to me. I figured it would have been like $45 million budget.
105. Opening weekend, it pulled in $22 million. Domestically, it pulled in $54.8 million. It was released November 7th of 1997. And the worldwide box office was $121.2 million.
Doesn't matter.
That was also in 1997. It doesn't matter because ever since it came out, which is almost now 30 years ago, 2 years from now, this will be a 30-year-old movie. This movie has just soared on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K purchases. And I'm so glad that I was able to bring it to our audience, even though we do movies that have flown under the radar, whatnot, and movies that need to be revisited, and Starship Troopers is always worth being revisited because, like I said, since I've had the 4K, since last summer, I've watched it at least 5 times.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I love it. And it's so much fun. V, you said it's streaming on Netflix, so I'm glad that it was able to stream so you didn't have to pay to rent it, even though I'm sure you would have not minded paying for it.
Oh, not at all.
It is definitely worth having in your collection. I let my dad borrow the 4K too, and I don't know if he ever did watch it, but I have it playing on right now, and is right when Rico is being dismissed from Mobile Infantry, and Dean Norris from Breaking Bad is in this movie as well. And I love that scene. He's like, does this look like your signature, Rico? He's like, that's it, sir. He's like, doesn't look like it to me. I love that whole thing. Because, of course, after he gets whipped, this is when they find out that Buenos Aires has been wiped off the planet. So
Sir,
that is Starship Troopers.
My whole family was in Buenos Aires.
My name's Johnny Rico, and I'm from Buenos Aires, and I say kill them all. Love that moment, too.
So do I.
So many great one-liners in this movie. So that is Starship Troopers, everybody. I hope if you have not seen this movie that we talked it up enough for you to give it a shot. It is absolutely worth 2 hours of your time, and if you have never seen it and you see it for the first time, you're going to be addicted. It's like a drug.
Let us know.
Would you like to know more? Because I would. V, I think it's time to know more about your pick this week. What do you say?
I think that's a great idea.
Let's do it.
We're going to rewind a little bit, figuratively speaking, because although my movie was released in 2013, it takes place in the years 2013, 2020, and 2025.
Hey.
I am talking about Guillermo del Toro's, big fans of him on this show,
Oh, yes.
and the first major director or star to retweet us.
Yeah, that's right. He did.
You texted me, or did you call me?
Oh, I had to call you on
Yeah,
that
that's
one.
right. Yeah, you called me and I was in the middle of Trader Joe's and I lost my shit so much that one of the employees came up and really curious, like, I'm sorry, I have to ask, what's the good news that you just got? And so I just gushed and told him. It was great. So big fans of Guillermo on the show. We've already picked Pan's Labyrinth and Mimic of his. In the future, we will pick the Hellboy movies. He also directed Blade 2 and The Shape of Water. He's an Academy Award-winning director, super awesome guy, great imagination, and he came up with this movie from 2013 called Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
And like several movies I've picked in the past, there is some great exposition in the beginning of this film. There's a voiceover that basically sets up what this world is, what these people are facing, and what to expect from this movie. And so I'm going to let Charlie Hunnam, who stars in this movie, if you have ever seen Sons of Anarchy or Guy Ritchie's King Arthur, you'll know who Charlie is. And I'm going to let him explain exactly what's going on in his world.
I was 15 when the first kaiju made land in San Francisco. By the time tanks, jets, and missiles took it down, 6 days and 35 miles later, 3 cities were destroyed. Tens of thousands of lives were lost. We mourned our dead, memorialized the attack, and moved on. And then, only 6 months later, the second attack hit Manila.
The acid factor of the kaiju blood creates a toxic phenomenon named kaiju blue.
And then the third one hit Cabo. And then the fourth. And then we learned this was not gonna stop. This was just the beginning. We needed a new weapon. The world came together, pooling its resources and throwing aside old rivalries for the sake of the greater good. To fight monsters, we created monsters of our own. The Jaeger program was born. There were setbacks at first. The neural load to interface with the Jaeger proved too much for a single pilot. A 2-pilot system was implemented. Left hemisphere, right hemisphere, pilot control. We started winning. Jaegers stopping kaijus everywhere. But the Jaegers were only as good as their pilots. So Jaeger pilots turned into rock stars. Danger turned into propaganda. Kaijus into toys. We got really good at it. Winning. Then it all changed.
So kaijus are like Godzillas or very large monsters about the size of a Godzilla, and they came up with a whole bunch of different kaijus. It's a Japanese word that literally means strange beast. They appear in many Japanese science fiction films, so that's where the term comes from. Approximately 100 kaijus were designed for this film, but only a fraction of them appeared. Every week, the crew held a vote for their favorites.
Oh, that's so cool.
Isn't that awesome? How fun would that be?
That's awesome.
I want a bracket of kaijus that they all designed so all the fans of Pacific Rim can vote on them.
Hell yeah.
And so the Jaegers that the humans made in order to fight them are these humongous robots. Think of when the Power Rangers band together, Go Power Rangers, and make the big...
Totally.
Megazord Ranger? That is what you can picture when thinking of this movie and how they fight, because the Jaegers are hundreds of feet tall as well. And because they're so big and because they require so much energy, they actually require 2 pilots. And that is called drifting. You have to be drift compatible, meaning your brains can talk to each other and mesh well in order to be in a Jaeger. And that's a very special skill that these pilots need in order to maneuver these Jaegers. And so Charlie Hunnam plays Rayleigh, and he is actually a Jaeger driver with his brother. Now, in the beginning of this movie, you can tell he's cocky, which of course he should be, because these guys are like rock stars now. They're defending Earth. They're kicking ass. They're taking names, kaiju names at least. And so these Jaegers are all named and really inspiring. There's merch, as they said, and they designed over 100 Jaegers as well for this movie. They did a huge deep dive in order to make this movie happen, and just were really creative when coming up with everything. In the beginning, Rayleigh, played by Charlie Hunnam, is really cocky. He's got his older brother with him. They've been beating a bunch of kaijus and just feeling really good about it. And so what always happens to cocky military guys is they ignore orders. They're defending along the coast of Alaska, which is ironic for where I am this summer. And a kaiju comes up and just hands them their ass.
Oh, yeah, it's so intense.
And unfortunately, that includes killing his brother. Rayleigh is now on his own, and because he's lost his drift mate, he is useless. He cannot control a Jaeger because you need 2 pilots, and so he is basically aimless from this point on. He leaves the military. He doesn't want to be a part of it anymore. And now we're fast forwarding 5 years later to 2025. which, again, so relevant to our times. He's working on building a wall to stop kaijus from invading the coast of America. And things aren't going well at all. We're losing. The Jaeger program is being shut down because all the politicians just think this wall is totally going to work and we don't need Jaegers anymore. And when our hero is down on his luck, has hit rock bottom, of course, that is when Stacker arrives. Stacker is played by Idris Elba. He is in command of the Jaeger program. This is my second favorite role of his. Rock and Rolla will always be my first. But
nice.
It is my second favorite role of his. I think he did such a good job. He wasn't overbearing. He didn't overplay it. He wasn't overacting. He was so subtle in his stoicism. He did such a good job because that is really hard to do. And I just didn't think he was overdramatic at all. So I really, really appreciate his performance in this role. And he definitely brings an even keel to this movie that could have bordered on ridiculous, right? Like,
completely.
Same with Starship Troopers is that you go a little further, this is just going to get campy. And it doesn't. Pacific Rim is not that campy of a movie.
No, not at all. Script-wise,
for 100%.
Sure.
Especially because Charlie Hunnam, he's struggling with American accent the entire time.
Yes. Yeah, there's so many moments where you're like, it's kind of like Sam Worthington in Avatar.
Absolutely.
Every now and then, the New Zealand pops in, and you're like, okay.
Yes. Yes. He wasn't very strong in this movie, especially, you go up against Idris Elba in scenes, or Charlie Day, or Max Martini, who's a great actor, Bern Gorman, like these character actors who are very good at what they do. Clifton Collins Jr. is great, and you'll recognize him because he's in everything, right?
Yeah. I ended up meeting Clifton Collins Jr. outside of a death metal bar in Hollywood one night.
No shit.
I had just watched Rules of Engagement like 2 nights before, and I was stepping outside and I saw him. I was like, dude, Rules of Engagement and Pacific Rim and so many other movies, and Star Trek, actually, the first Star Trek with Eric Bana. He's Eric Bana's guy.
Yeah.
And he shook my hand. He's like, that's so cool, man. Thanks for being a fan. I'm like, absolutely, fuck yeah. And he left, and that was it.
See, that is the perfect interaction because you don't overstay your welcome.
Yeah, exactly. I hate to overstay. I've done that before. I'm not going to lie, but that usually happens on set when they can't go anywhere. Sorry, you were saying?
No, not at all. And so the reason why Stacker has come back to Rayleigh is that he believes that the wall isn't going to work, and he has been secretly reviving the Jaeger program.
Yeah.
And Rayleigh keeps telling him, look, I lost my drift partner. I can't do this anymore. And he's like, just come with me. Do you really want to be a part of our last stand or not?
Mm-hmm.
So he gets recruited back, and now we are looking at the Jaeger program kind of being on the down low, trying to fight off these kaijus that just keep coming through this rift in the Pacific Ocean. And so for the rest of the movie, Rayleigh is back in the Jaeger program that they're trying to revive. We also have scientists played by Charlie Day, who you will totally recognize from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Bern Gorman, who's another character actor you will recognize. They are the two cliche geeky scientists who are trying to figure out what these kaijus really want and where they're coming from and how. And I really love that subplot. It actually has a lot more depth to it than you would think for a movie like this.
It really does.
Because this came out around the same time as Battleship, and so a lot of people were like, these movies are so stupid, or there's not really much substance to them, and they are completely different movies. Pacific Rim actually is good. And
I never saw Battleship. Yeah.
Oh, it's ass. Don't ever watch it.
Rihanna and Patrick Wilson or some shit.
Yeah.
Nothing against either of them, but yeah, the movie did not look good.
No, it's not. And in Pacific Rim, there's so many great subplots and really wonderful cast. And so these scientists are trying to research and analyze these kaijus that they're killing off, and to see exactly what the motivations are behind it, and see if they can get some answers to help them win the war, basically. And then we get Hannibal Chow, who's a black market dealer of kaiju parts, played by Ron motherfucking Perlman.
Hell yes!
Stealing every single scene he's in. He's unbelievable.
Absolutely.
His costume is great. Everything about
the glasses so awesome. I want those fucking sunglasses so bad.
What about the shoes?
Oh yeah, I'll take everything. Truthfully, like when he showed, I remember seeing. Well, we'll talk about that in a minute, but absolutely, yeah, everything of Ron Perlman. I can only imagine he walked up and was like, "Yo, Guillermo, let me just. this is my idea." And he was like, "Okay, yeah, do it."
Well, and
that's my terrible Guillermo del
that was
Toro
awful.
impression.
Never do that again, ever. But
Sorry, Guillermo, if you ever listen to this, I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, man. Please forgive me.
But Guillermo and Ron Perlman know each other from the Hellboy movies, so they're good friends. And like we talked about, directors utilizing actors repeatedly because they have a really good relationship with them. And so we're also working on Rayleigh trying to find another partner so he can run a Jaeger. Kaiju's continuing to come in, so we've got this amazing action. The CGI is absolutely incredible. This movie, it's so badass, it's so believable, it still holds up completely to this day. There's a rousing speech because of course there is. It's a war movie. There has to be. It's a requirement, right? The action in this movie is so badass. There is an explosion underwater, which is one of the coolest explosions I've ever seen on film.
So badass.
And so creative. I never saw it coming. I was like, oh, of course that's how it would happen. Brilliant. And so, yes, I love this film. I thought it was the perfect pairing to Starship Troopers because it's a badass action movie that's kind of campy, but still you're not guilty about loving it and you totally recommend it to people. And ironically, it's also streaming on Netflix, so you can absolutely do a double feature of both of these films.
Oh, perfect.
So, John, not sure how long you've been watching this film. I actually didn't get a chance to see it in theaters because I'm stupid and didn't think it looked any good at all. And so I watched it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so I watched it later on and have been watching it for, it came out in 2013. I think I watched it in 2015 for the first time. So I've been watching it for the last 10 years. It's a great film, and I can't wait to hear what you think of it and what some of your favorite parts are.
Oh, yeah. Let's jump into that real quick. I saw it opening weekend in the Dome on Hollywood Boulevard at the ArcLight. My buddy and I, Joel, I think I mentioned this last week, we just got completely obliterated stoned and went to this movie and had nothing but a complete and utter blast, no pun intended. It really is so imaginative and so kick-ass. This is one of the only times so far that I've been able to stomach Charlie Day. I don't normally like the guy, and I have nothing against him. He
has a really annoying voice.
It's the voice, man, and if it's put on, cool. And if that's not how you talk in real life, cool. But I'm very much looking forward to Honey Don't with Margaret Qualley and Aubrey Plaza, and I know he's in that. So I'm looking forward to seeing if maybe my mind will change on the guy. But that doesn't make me like the movie any less. I think he's great in the movie. I love the whole thing. He's got the tattoos of the kaijus, and he's telling Riley, he's like, oh, he was 275,000 tons of awesome. And Riley's like, yeah, my brother and I took him down in 2012, or like something like that. I love that whole back and forth between both of them because that's their first introduction to each other. And I completely love Bern Gorman in this movie. He's completely cliche British and ridiculous, but at the same time, there's something about this movie, and I think it might just be the Guillermo del Toro effect, where it's fantasy. So just fucking enjoy it. Just sit back and don't be like, well, that's fucking dumb. It's, of course, fucking stupid, but it's so badass.
I would argue with that, though. I don't think it's that stupid. I think the way they handled this as a creature feature movie, it borders on seriousness. Yes, the dialogue is campy and stuff like that, but like...
Yeah, I was more talking about dialogue-wise, being like, some of the stuff that they say
cliche.
Is totally stupid and cliche, but at the same time, you're like, you know what, I buy it, because in a world like this, similar to a Godzilla movie, you're kind of like, oh, that's how these people would react. And I completely buy into it. And Ron Perlman's character, completely, like the black market whole thing, like selling the teeth and the horns and all this stuff. It's like selling rhino husks, all that kind of thing. And I loved all of that. And I actually thought Charlie Hunnam was great in this movie. Totally, like I said, similar to Sam Worthington, teetering on the accent losing and whatnot. I like Rinko Kikuchi as well in this movie. I thought she was great as Mako. Idris Elba's fantastic. The cast as a whole really worked together. They played off each other.
Agreed.
It felt like there was a lot of room for improvisation. I don't know. I don't know how Del Toro really does that on set, if he's like followed the script, or I imagine that he likes to let people improvise in certain movies. Now, Pan's Labyrinth, I don't think he allowed a lot of room.
Yeah, I was going to say Pan's, I think, didn't he storyboard everything?
Yeah, Pan's Labyrinth, Shape of Water, very much, I imagine, very meticulous, where... And not that he's not meticulous with Pacific Rim, because you have to be, with the way that the Jaegers are put together and the mechanics of the whole drifting thing. Like, that is just fucking brilliant. I'll never forget the first times, like, oh, the drifting thing. And you see the memories that his brother has that he doesn't have. And then they're meshing. And then later on when he gets his other pilot, and it's just like, there's so many really badass things in this movie that you're like, man, it's almost like a fever dream, really. You're just kind of like, this is completely out of the norm. And the way that the kaijus get to Earth is just so like, Of course that's how they get here. You know, like how else would it happen? Yeah, perfect pairing. Complete blast. I only have the DVD of this. I need the 4K, but I have been watching it since 2013, so I've been watching it now for 12 years. Probably every other year I watch Pacific Rim because not
That's
only
a good cadence,
not only are the special effects amazing, the soundtrack is bitchin', and I've always loved the soundtrack and the sound effects, and just I love the opening too with that major battle with the kaiju where they disobey orders, and later on the Jaeger's on that beach with the grandfather and his grandson. I love that moment when it's just so badass. So I'm glad you picked it with Starship Troopers. I know I picked Starship Troopers first, and you paired this because of that choice. So it was a perfect choice, and I hope our audience agrees. And I don't know how many people truthfully have seen Pacific Rim because I feel like it's definitely an under the radar type of a movie.
I think
so.
It
Major fan. It's a completely underrated movie, and I love it.
Awesome. So glad to hear it. I know we were both really excited to just rewatch both of these movies and admitted to each other ahead of time that we loved them both. So we were just really excited to gush over them together because that's always fun too. And,
big time.
And you're right. This was a really creative take on a kaiju movie, on a creature feature movie, on an invasion movie. And so getting into it a little bit deeper, Travis Beacham, who was the screenwriter, he got the idea for the movie while he was walking along the California coastline. And it was really foggy, and the shape of the pier looked like a creature rising from the water. And that's where he got the idea.
Nice.
Yeah. And there are great names for both the kaijus and the Jaegers in this movie. I really like that they named everything because it gave some personality and some personalization to each battle. And so it didn't feel cookie cutter. It didn't feel repeated. It was all very unique and special because each one was different and each one had a character that you liked. Or you get to a point in this movie where you have a favorite Jaeger and you really like specific kaijus because of the way they look. And one of them actually looks kind of cute. And I'm like, oh, don't hurt it. But it was trying to destroy a city, so definitely you got to kill it. So one of the kaijus is named Karloff because it's named after Boris Karloff. His face looks like Boris Karloff's face in The Mummy, his character Imhotep.
Oh, awesome.
They clearly had so much fun coming up with this movie and all the little details in it. The Jaegers are, in fact, a staple of Japanese anime as well, along with the kaijus, because Jaegers are basically what a mecha is. Right?
Oh, okay.
And so they have human pilots, but it's a robotic thing. And there's a lot of, and like I said, the Power Rangers, right? And so that's how
big time.
Having a human pilot is what distinguishes it from other robots. That's why it's called a mecha.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah, and so these pilots are actually inside this Jaeger when the movie's taking place. So when the Jaeger is getting hit by the kaiju or eaten or stabbed by the kaiju, it's a big deal because there's humans in it, and it actually puts some emotional weight to these battles as well, which I thought was really brilliant. And
yes, I agree.
A life-size version of the Jaeger cockpit was built on a soundstage at Pinewood Studios in Toronto. It weighed 20 tons. It was nearly 4 stories high. And it was on a gimbal.
Hell yes. Practicality, baby.
Yeah, and so when we are in with the pilots, when they're getting hit or when there's a problem, this gimbal would move, it would shake, it would drop, it would rock the entire set, so it could help with this realism that these pilots are experiencing and acting to make this feel like they were actually getting attacked by a kaiju, which I think is so important to, again, ground this movie a little bit because it could have gone too campy.
Totally. That makes the movie all that more impressive because the first time that Riley and his brother start walking after the drift happens early on in the movie, I'm just like, man, that had to have been some of the most intense CGI. Now, granted, that probably a lot of it still is, but just like to know that there was a 4-story cockpit of a fucking Jaeger built, so killer.
And they redressed it for every Jaeger, so there was uniqueness to the inside of those cockpits.
Oh, man.
Right?
See?
Thank you, Guillermo.
That's... wow. Yeah.
And Raleigh's original Jaeger that he piloted with his brother was called Gypsy Danger. And when I was first watching this movie, I was like, that is such a random ass name. Where would it, you'd think there would be a more hardcore name to his Jaeger, right?
Yeah.
But Gypsy Danger is actually named after the de Havilland Gypsy, which is an airplane engine from World War II.
Oh, okay, cool.
Now, de Havilland might be a recognizable name because we watched The Adventures of Robin Hood together from the 1930s, where Olivia de Havilland starred in that movie.
Oh.
Olivia de Havilland's cousin made the de Havilland aircraft. And so she comes from a very successful family. And those aircraft were very sought after and used by the Allies during World War II. They made great airplane engines. And so those airplanes were a major influence on the design of this robot. That's why it looked a bit antiquated. That's why that robot specifically looked a bit old school, and they kind of make fun of it later, right? When they're like, we've got the newer Jaegers, and Raleigh's like, fuck you, I love Gypsy Danger, that's my jam. So
well, it makes sense though, like as time goes on, of course things are gonna get more improved.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. I would not have put that together with The Adventures of Robin Hood at all, like truthfully.
Yeah, Olivia de Havilland, I will pick more movies with her in it. She was such a great actress, so no worries, she'll become a little bit more
Was
familiar.
she Maid Marian?
She was.
Okay, gotcha.
Gorgeous.
Sweet.
Yeah. It'd be like one of your siblings having an iPhone 6. Of course you're going to give them shit, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a big fight around an hour and a half into this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And Gypsy's fist smashes through a big building.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Office cubicles, and it just gets messed up, right? That was all done using miniatures.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, that's so awesome.
The office cubicles were made using 3D printers. The lighting was practical and done to scale.
Damn.
And once the set was ready, a very large, all green mandrel was just rammed through the whole thing.
Oh, that's awesome. That had to have been such a fun day.
Yeah, and so that was then digitally replaced to be Gypsy's fist because, of course, it was basically green screen at that point. And
hell yeah.
I just, anytime we can talk about practicality, especially in a CGI heavy movie like this one or Starship Troopers, it's so fun to talk about the realism in it too. Because of course there's not going to be real aliens for your movie or really real kaiju in mind, but at least they can do what they can. Yeah, that we know of. And adding to our reading list, screenwriter Travis Beacham also wrote the graphic novel Pacific Rim: Tales from Year Zero. It was released along with the movie, and it serves as a prologue to the film and is set 12 years before the events.
Oh, come on. I had no idea. That's
either.
Really cool.
So I think that's really
going to go to a comic book store.
Yeah, I think that graphic novel is really going to focus on the invasion, the initial invasion. I think that's what that means.
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
While the director of this movie is named Guillermo del Toro, the cinematographer for this movie is named Guillermo Navarro. For both of them, it was their first experience shooting with digital cameras.
Wow. Damn.
And though
wow.
Yeah, and though Navarro brought in 7 Red Epic cameras to shoot it, he used all his own lenses so he could still be familiar with shooting and getting exactly what he wanted because of that experience that he had with those lenses.
Very cool.
Yeah. And Ron Perlman, being Hannibal, the black market dealer, he has a very flamboyant costume. It's fabulous.
Oh, yeah.
And he has these gold scaled shoes that are just ridiculous that clink whenever he walks.
Yep.
Well, Ron Perlman kept the shoes.
Perfect.
And later on, his wife had them melted down and made them into a pair of heels.
What?
Which is
that's hilarious.
Cool, but also sad.
Yeah, that's definitely cool but sad because
Yes.
those were some badass shoes.
They were badass shoes, but when would he ever wear them? He'd just have to keep them in a glass case in his house, right?
Had I known that he took them home, I would have looked at his feet when I saw him at Gelson's that one time off Franklin Boulevard and dude, those are from Pacific Rim, but no.
And I love this. It's a tie-in to a few months ago on our show. The movie is dedicated to the memory of the Monster Masters, Ray Harryhausen.
I saw that. I love that.
Who we had an entire episode dedicated to because he's awesome.
Hell yeah.
And Ishiro Honda, who is the director of the original Godzilla from 1954.
Hell yeah. So awesome.
Yeah. And so I like that they paid homage to some of the men who came before them who really conceived and produced this original genre of film.
Yeah.
It was just such a wonderful, heartfelt end to this movie. So I really appreciated that. And I do think this movie is, I want to say, forgotten. It needs to be revisited.
It is certainly a forgotten movie. I bring it up often, and people are like, I I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
How do you not?
Right? And it had $190 million budget,
Wow.
which I did not see coming.
Almost 2 hundo. That's a...
Yeah. It only made $102 million in the United States. But it did make $411 million worldwide.
Oh, wonderful. All right.
So it did okay. I think you could
Yeah.
argue that it was breaking even / started to make some money back.
Sure.
I'm sure it's done really well in DVD sales, but certainly worth revisiting, certainly worth reminding our audience that it exists. I really want my dad to watch it. I think he'd have a lot of fun with it. It's a very male-dominated
I don't know if my
movie.
dad's even seen it.
Oh, yeah. No, it's a very male-dominated movie, but not in a gross way. It's just like there's
Right.
only one female in the movie is basically what I'm saying.
That's true. Yeah, there is.
They should add more female Jaeger pilots or more female military officers or something, like more
Totally,
female
yeah.
characters. Like
Maybe
somebody
somebody
needed-
like with with Charlie Day, or like Charlie Day's character could have been female. Like, that
Yeah.
would have been cool.
Yeah, exactly. And I can picture her blonde with curly hair for some reason. Being a
I kind of, for whatever reason, picture her as that Australian actress from the first Transformers movie. Like, I think she would have been kind of cool to come in like the kaijus that come in. Oh, I can't do an Australian
God,
accent.
what
but
is wrong with your accents
I don't know what's
tonight?
going on with me tonight. I don't know. But you know who I'm talking about, right? The blonde one that Anthony Anderson.
Oh yeah.
She's like, he's my advisor. Wow, there's another
Stop.
terrible
Just
accent for
stop.
you. Okay.
All the way. Stop.
He's my advisor, is what she says in an
No,
Australian accent.
I was actually, well, it was back in 2013. She probably still would have been old enough or young enough for this. Connie Nielsen from Gladiator.
I don't like Gladiator, so anybody in that
But
movie,
God, you have such a bias.
I know.
You're so
Yeah, you know.
She's Hippolyta in Wonder Woman. She plays Wonder Woman's mom.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I could totally see that. Absolutely. For whatever reason, nothing against Charlie Day. I like him in this movie, but if they were gonna go with a female, I feel like she would have to be European. Or you know what, younger Rebecca Ferguson could have been cool.
No, she needs
Like
to
a
seem a
badass
little more rugged, a little less polished. Rebecca Ferguson is just
Margot Robbie, young Margot Robbie.
that is not no. She's Barbie.
Okay.
She doesn't have any ruggedness to her. What are you talking about?
She's not Barbie. She was Barbie, and nobody remembers Barbie, so we can move on from that.
We need to move on because you're starting to piss me off. And Connie Nielsen is also a Nobody too, which just came out. So
Okay, that's why yeah, all right. Yep. So I could see her. Yeah, that would be good.
anyway, so Pacific
Anyway.
Rim, despite not having very many female characters or actors in it, still love the movie, still big fans. Watch it on Netflix and give it a chance.
I agree completely.
All right, so that is our over-the-top, kind of campy, but also badass and still cool alien action movie episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we always like to ask, John, would you watch Starship Troopers with your grandma?
Oh, I totally did. Absolutely. My grandfather was a big fan too. Yeah, if it was on TNT and I was at their house, like I said, we watched it. The nudity wasn't there, so my grandparents were fine with it.
All right.
And V, would you watch Pacific Rim with your grandmother?
Yeah, actually, I would. There's no sex scenes in it. All of the action and violence is against a Jaeger and a kaiju, so there's not really
Yeah.
any human blood or anything like that.
That's
So,
true.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very easy PG-13 film.
Completely agree.
All right, great. Well, that wraps up another episode for us here at Movies You Missed Podcast. John, do you want to talk about what we're doing next week?
Yeah, let's do it. We are jumping into animated features. I chose a movie that I guarantee you, majority of you maybe have never even seen. This film is from
I
1980.
will push back immediately on that because most of our listeners are around our age and they absolutely have seen that movie.
I would love to know who has seen this movie because I have brought it up to a lot of people my age and they've never even heard of it.
Oh, just like this week with Pacific Rim.
Exactly, yes. You didn't even bother to talk about Pacific Rim Uprising, the sequel that was so god-awful.
That's why I didn't talk about it.
Awesome. Well, we just did. Anyway, moving on. Next week, we're jumping into dark animated feature films. My film comes to us from 1982 with the voice talents of Elizabeth Hartman, Derek Jacobi, and the master, Dom DeLuise. This is animated and directed by Don Bluth Pictures. This is The Secret of NIMH. And we will tell you what NIMH stands for when we do the episode next week. And if you care to follow along, you can rent it on Amazon Prime. I have already and very likely will watch again before we record this episode my VHS copy that my wife gifted me 7 years ago on our second Christmas together.
Aw.
Yeah. So that is my pick for next week, The Secret of NIMH. V, what is your pick for next week?
I also picked a darker animated film, not Disney. This movie comes to us from 1992. It is Ferngully, The Last Rainforest.
Nice.
It stars the voice talents of Samantha Mathis, Christian Slater, Robin Williams, and Tim Curry. I love this movie so much. I've loved it. I've loved it from the beginning since I started watching it, I think in like 1992, whenever my parents bought it on VHS and put it on for us.
There you go.
It's a beautiful film. I love the message so much. The music in it is fantastic. Highly recommend this movie if you haven't seen it, or if you hadn't seen it in quite a long time. Tune in next week where you can learn whether or not it holds up. It does. And if you want to follow along, you can watch it on Disney+.
I have a VHS and a DVD copy of it. I could not find my VHS copy, but I will watch my DVD copy.
Fabulous.
Hell yeah. Looking forward to it.
All right. Well, that is another live episode, not remastered, in the books. So we are back with regular episodes. Thank you all so much for joining us. I hope you are having as much fun as we are talking about these movies and learning more about them. And until next week, we love to end with film is a form of art, and in art, every opinion is valid, except if you think
the bugs were the real enemy in Starship Troopers.
Yes. Oh my God. 1,000 times. Yes. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. And if any of you want to join Klimsh's Roughnecks, come on down. Hoo-ah! Would you like to know more? Cheers, everybody.
Bye-bye.